Hi. Well, this morning there was a lot of talk about the man who played the father on Seventh Heaven allegedly, very important word, even though he said it, allegedly admitting to molesting girls. And what I wanted to record a video on is, what do you do for yourself, for your spirit, for your mind, when you have let someone get away with a terrible injustice to yourself? Now, growing up, I completely did that, where I would protect my abusers. And I protected my abusers, for one, feeling owed to them, feeling like if I just protected them, things would not get any worse. That was my complete and total mode. And there was a lot of fear about what would happen if I stepped forward and told the authorities what was going on. So I pray to a lot of silent help out there for a resolution. And my resolution came when I left home at the age of 15, got myself a full-time job, and started my own life. But in that process, there was a lot of shattered pieces, and I left home about 2 weeks before September 11th. So I'm at the blackest, darkest, nastiest point in my life, just god awful. And I had a full-time job. I was homeschooling through high school. A flight just flew by me. And I made a life for myself, year after year, building on what I was doing, figuring out things. When I left home, I did not know how to get a check cashed. I didn't have an ID on me. I just had a birth certificate, some photos, and some clothes. And obviously, as a minor, I didn't have any rights. You know, a very nice employer hired me full-time, and I think they worked something out in the system where they could kind of get away with that, because I was definitely working 40 hours a week. So, what to do when you did not ask, you did not require justice, when you did not send out a call for justice, or maybe you did and nobody believed you and you didn't get justice. And how does that not balance your system? Well, first of all, you have to let go of the guilt in terms of it, because my biggest guilt was, if I did not tell on certain people, they were apt to go and do it to someone else. And I know that we say that to a lot of people, and we say that with good intentions. But if your train has left the station and you did not call for justice, and it looks like you'll never call for justice, you have to find peace within yourself that you are not a horrible human being for not calling them out. You have been stripped of your power. You have had it taken away from you. You have had your dignity taken away, above all else, and your peace of mind. And you have to come to terms with the experience that, although you may not go over what happened, although you may not think about your abuser every day, I certainly don't, you have to realize how it has changed you. When I was a girl, my mother was arrested when I was 5, and she tried to punch out a cop, and she ran from the police, and I ran with her. And then she came back, and she said she was going to jail, and I was really, really worried and devastated and torn apart from the bottom of my soul that my mommy was going away, and that the cops were going to take her away. And I had several other instances in my life where where my peace was violated and stolen and ripped apart, and it just became this theme where anyone could come at any time, whether it was 3 o'clock in the morning or Wednesday in the morning or Thursday afternoon, and they could just rip apart whatever comfort, whatever peace, whatever safety I felt, but also who I really was, the essence. And so I came into adulthood, and I had, my child, but I still didn't feel like an adult. I felt like the vulnerable, sad, depressed. I won't say sad and depressed. No, I take that back. I still felt vulnerable. I still felt like a 12-year-old who is now in her late 20s, who could have anything taken away from her at any time. And that's like a post-traumatic stress syndrome. And you have to just come to terms with how you react to certain things. Certain things are going to trigger those old feelings. And those feelings that anyone can come along at any time and take it all from you. And while you work on the healing process, and I'm still working on it, the first thing that I have worked on is just making a conscious decision to be empowered and to realize that I'm an adult now, and people can't do that anymore. They can try to do it, they can do something against me, but I am not the scared little girl who is just fighting and defending and trying to keep everything peaceful. And the second thing is that a lot of us who have been abused, we become the ultimate people pleasers. We are afraid to frighten people. We have a huge feeling of rejection already within us. I often say that it's been like Simon Cowell lives in my head, who's just belittling you. And you have to give yourself permission to move on. Permission that no matter how small and insignificant somebody made you feel or took from you, you cannot just keep that abuser's mentality in your head, thinking that you are owned by someone else, because you're not. Your soul essence, who you are, can never be coined. It can never be duplicated by any man. And there is total freedom in that. There's total freedom in knowing that you could have everything physically taken away from you, but they can never take away your spirit. They can never take away your soul of who you are. So empower yourself on your healing journey. Realize that it's okay to have anxiety. It's okay to not have everything figured out. It's okay not even to love yourself 100%, but to learn how to love yourself, to learn how to accept yourself again, and to also nourish that inner child that is in you, because chances are that inner child is running your show. You may pay bills, you may clean the house, you may do your job, but inside there is still that frightened child that needs to be liberated, and you need to speak to that child and say, the war is over. It is finished, and we came out. And as far as justice goes, we may never get justice from who abused us, and we may never call them out. But what we can do is to live our life to the highest point of our potential. And when you love yourself and love your life and live it with purpose, in the end, they won't matter, and they don't matter. It becomes a blip on the radar and not your entire existence when you manifest the magic of who you are and create the most good. All right, that's it.